Come on, newcomer. Follow me. Welcome to the channel. I'm Hayes. I talk movies all day. Sometimes I talk about games. So subscribe right now if you want to be entertained. And today, I want to talk about Final Fantasy VII. No, not that Final Fantasy VII. I want to talk about the original Final Fantasy VII. The Final Fantasy VII that was released nearly 26 years ago in January 1997. And just for context, if you were born when this Final Fantasy VII came out, not only are you officially older than Google, by now, you should probably start checking for grey hairs. Anyway, why am I talking about this quarter-century old video game? Well, mainly because this game has been the bane of my existence for most of that last 25 years. Okay, it's not that deep, but here's what I mean. I remember seeing the billboard adverts for this game when it was getting ready to be released, and it definitely seemed like they were making a big deal of it, but at the time, I never even heard of Final Fantasy, so I was confused as to why I'm supposed to care about a Part 7. But some years later, after we got a PlayStation, I'm in HMV with my younger brother, and evidently he'd heard of Final Fantasy because he was mad excited about it. And I'm pretty sure I ended up paying for the damn thing, but we get home, load it up, I watch it play for a little bit, all the while thinking, what the hell kind of bullshit is this? It looks stupid. I mean, graphically I guess it's about on par with other games of the time, but it looked stupid. Blocky characters flailing their arms around. Is this guy supposed to be angry or something? And you gotta wait your turn to attack an enemy? Nah, this is a joke, right? So yeah, despite the excitement my little brother had for it and the general buzz around this game, I decided to leave it all the way alone. But after about another 2 or 3 years of hearing both my younger brothers and just everyone else in the entire world gush over how amazing this game is, eventually I was like, fine, I'll play this stupid thing. And from what I can remember, I don't think it grabbed me right away. Certainly the random battles were mad annoying, but I can't lie, I finally saw the big fuss about Final Fantasy. It got you to think about which items you need quicker access to depending on where you are and which enemies you're facing, which materia you give to which party members, when to grind and when to move on. I got pretty into it at the time. Now, Final Fantasy VII was a huge game. It was so big, it had to be put on not 1, not 2, but 3. Yeah, 3 whole compact discs. It was a massive game. For context, if you wanted to put Final Fantasy VII on a PS5 disc, you would, well, actually, it would fit at least 47 times over, but the point is, it was huge back then. So you gotta understand, when I say that I got into this game, I dedicated over 30 hours to playing this game, and that was just the first disc. That was a big achievement for me. So, to get to the second disc, just to find out I had a corrupted save file? Mate, kids today will never understand the levels of disappointment a corrupted save file can give. I mean, do they even have corrupted save files anymore? That's gotta be like talking about the dinosaurs by now or something. But yeah, for those still wondering, a corrupted save file is when the file that stores your game progress cannot be accessed, thus leaving your only option as start all over again. After 30 plus hours of my life. And to be fair, it was probably my fault for putting the wrong disc in the PlayStation, but even still, 30 plus hours gone, all gone, just like that, gone. I was done. I was not playing this game again, never, no way. Until sometime, I guess around 2009, 2010 when it got re-released on the PlayStation 3, but this version didn't require 3 discs. This version only required 1 download. Well, actually 2 downloads, one for PlayStation 3 and then later on for the PlayStation Vita. But hopefully the fact that it's a download should mean that I don't have to worry about corrupted save files. Now, to be honest, I really don't remember what happened. I think I got at least another 25 to 30 hours in. I know I put it down and came back to it a bunch of times over a period of a few years. I know I switched between playing on the PlayStation 3 and the PlayStation Vita. I think I ended up getting stuck somewhere, decided to take a break and come back to it in a few days, but then life happened and then I didn't come back to it ever again. At least not for a long time, maybe 3 years or more, and by then I was looking at it like, what was I doing here again? And once again, Final Fantasy VII was buried in the graveyard of games never to be completed. Until 2023. I had just finished playing Days Gone through the recently rebranded PlayStation Plus premium service. And now I'm looking around for what to play next. Should I play Ghost of Tsushima, Bloodborne, Spider-Man, Miles Morales? Oh no, because amongst all those games was Final Fantasy VII, and I was immediately reminded of my age-old grudge with this game, and it was on. So let's put that in perspective. I paid £99 for a year of PlayStation Premium, and of the two games that took up most of my time, one of them I could have got for like 20 quid, and the other I literally already owned. I did not need to get PlayStation Premium, but that's a me problem. Anyway, here I am now in big 2023 playing this 25-year-old game that's been a thorn in my side for most of that time. Now at this point in my life, I don't always get a lot of time to play games, so I had to dedicate as much time as I could to finally getting through this. It ended up being more than 70 hours over a 6 or 7 month period, but I did get through it. Finally beating Final Fantasy VII. So let me just take a moment to pat myself on the back. Alright, let's talk about this. So first of all, I said I already owned Final Fantasy VII, which is true. I have the PlayStation 3 version. The original PlayStation version, that's long gone. Or I don't know, maybe it's buried in the garage somewhere. Anyway, I've since found out that the PlayStation 3 version is only compatible with the PlayStation 3 and the PlayStation Vita, and not the PlayStation 4, which honestly is kinda lame. Not everyone keeps old consoles, whether it's because of money, space, both, or other reasons. If you buy games digitally, you should always have a way of playing those games on new hardware within the same ecosystem. And as much as I like the convenience of digital games, this is one of the problems. What should happen and what does happen aren't always the same thing. Now, in my case, I could have dusted off my old PlayStation 3 or PlayStation Vita and played it there. Or I could have paid the 13 quid to buy it again for the PlayStation 4. Either way, I really didn't need to pay no £99 for PlayStation Premium. But let me get off that topic. Anyway, the PlayStation 4 version is really a remaster. There's some minor tweaks here and there, but from what I can remember, the game is pretty much exactly the same. What is different is that there is now an option to speed things up, which, can't lie, came in handy a few times. Also, I think they swapped some of the buttons around, and they definitely sprayed some Mr. Sheen polish over the visuals. But it still is the old game made with the old game ideals. A lot of games now, especially longer games, have a journal or some way of keeping track of what you're doing and where you're meant to be going next. Back in the day, they didn't quite do that. Once you figure out where to go, you go to that place. But bear in mind, I don't get a lot of time to play these days, so if I can't go to that place now, my next gameplay session might not be for another week or 2 or sometimes 3 or more. I'll be coming back to this game having to re-figure out what I was doing or where I'm supposed to be going. So I just ended up making my own damn notes on a small whiteboard. But not everything that's old is bad. Playing Final Fantasy VII 25 years after its release, the game does hold up pretty well. The time-based / turn-based gameplay during battle still provides some intense moments as you traverse the action menu looking for your next move, all while knowing if you take too long, the enemy will make their move. The story still holds up well. It has a lot of depth to it. Cloud's going from mercenary hires to help take down Shinra to having to go on his own journey of self-discovery when more and more of his past gets revealed. Now, I'm about to get into some spoilers here, so if you ain't played Final Fantasy VII, you might want to skip to this part of the video. Okay? We good? We good. Eris dying was tragic, especially for me, cause next to Cloud, she was the main one I wanted to level up. My plan was to use Cloud more for physical attacks and Eris more for magic attacks and healing, and I had her leveled up quite high too, just for her to get stabbed by Sephiroth. And when Ketchi turned out to be a traitor, but he came back begging for forgiveness, I never really trusted him again after that. To be fair though, both Eris dying and Ketchi being a traitor, I should have known. I'm pretty sure I got past both those parts the first time I played. It's been over 20 years. Allow me, man, allow me. Anyway, back to non-spoiler stuff. I would say some of the dialogue felt a bit lame, to be honest. Some of it was even lame back in 1997. I don't know, it's probably something to do with how things were being localized back then. But whatever, let's talk about some other things I didn't like. I still don't like the random battles. Well, maybe that's a bit harsh. They're definitely annoying, but I also feel like I can appreciate them just a little bit more now. I just found out when I'm trying to walk to another section, there'd be like a million random battles. I'd barely walk a meter around another random battle. But when I actually wanted to level up, where'd everybody go? I'm walking around for ages and not a single encounter. Nah, you're taking a piss, I swear. Also, here comes another spoiler, so skip to this part of the video if you want to avoid it. I didn't like towards the end when you go inside the caves to face Sephiroth, there's no standard save points. Instead, you get a crystal that you can use once to create a save point. So if you're the unlucky sods that ended up creating a save point too early, there could be a lot that you have to do again when you inevitably get destroyed by Sephiroth. Now in my case, I had already been through the cave once without creating a save point, got destroyed by Sephiroth quickly, I might add, had to do the whole cave section again, but it meant I had a good idea of where to create the save point the next time round. However, turns out with the created save point, you can't swap your party members. Why does this matter? I don't hear you ask. Every battle you have in this game is just your one party of 3 members. So, I picked an A team to take on Sephiroth. Cloud, Barret, and Sid. Because they were my A team, I concentrated on leveling up those guys to be strong enough to take on Sephiroth. But when you face Sephiroth, it's not just your main 3 people fighting, it's everyone in the back too. And they were not strong enough. So I get destroyed again, but whatever, no big deal. I've saved in the good place. I can just go to my save point, swap out my characters, and level up the guys in the back so that they can be strong enough too. Just to find out you can't. Now fortunately, kinda, when you level up your main team, there is a trickle down effects to the B team where they get some experience points too, just not as much. So I had to take the time to grind up the A team so high that the B team could then eventually be strong enough. Because what I wasn't gonna do is start the whole damn game again. No, not this time, no. I've come way too far for that. Anyway, back to non-spoiler stuff. And after nearly 25 years, finally being able to say I have completed Final Fantasy VII, it's a good feeling, even though I paid way more to play this game on 3 separate occasions than anybody in their right mind should. We're gonna ignore that part and just focus on the positives. And for anybody who hasn't played it, I think it is still a worthwhile adventure. I mean, there's no voice acting or autosave, and sometimes the movement controls can feel a bit clunky. Some of the enemies will definitely piss you off, and I've already said enough about the random battles, so let me not get into that again. But in the end, the core of the game is still a solid experience to this day.
To this day! To this day!
Just be glad you don't have to deal with memory cards anymore. But that's what I think of Final Fantasy VII. What do you think of Final Fantasy VII? Let me know down below, and while you're there, be sure to like, subscribe, and drop a suggestion if you don't mind.